Now moving on to item 3G, which is looking at the termination of the lease with Carden Westlake Village. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the termination of the lease with Carden Westlake Village for the real property located at 975 Even Star Avenue, Westlake Village 91361, Carden Conejo School.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. So each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. We will start with our speaker via telephone.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Hayek and Dr. McLaughlin. This is Joshua Lynn. I am a Carden parent. I know some of you over the years, and I just wanted to reach out and ask you guys to not terminate the Carden lease that's being discussed. I know Bob and Holly for many years, and I know in their heart that they never wanted the school to be shut down. They wanted to pass it off to another Carden family, which they have found with the Feingolds. And it is their intent to hand the school off to the next family to carry that torch, just as it was handed to them many years ago, and the school district approved that. So I am asking you guys very humbly to not terminate this lease until you have the new lease worked out with the Feingolds so that the school can continue and these parents can have the ability to take their kids to Carden for many more years to come. I appreciate all that you guys are doing, and I very humbly request that you take this under very serious consideration. I appreciate it, and have a good evening.
Hello, my name is Bob Fleming. Holly and I are grateful for and proud of our 17-year successful partnership with the Conejo Valley Unified School District, and we're respectfully requesting an assignment of our lease to Carden Conejo School, Inc., which is a California nonprofit public benefit corporation formed by Mr. Rod Feingold and Mrs. Dina Feingold. We're asking that you not vote for termination of the current lease. The Feingolds were selected from a pool of interested parents for both their high regard for education and their business acumen. Our plans will result in virtually no change for the neighbors of the Triumph site, but will ensure continued respectful operation. The Flemings will donate Carden to this nonprofit to ensure the school is being run for the benefit of the community rather than for financial gain. We sincerely believe the assignment of the lease to be the best option for all involved, and we hope the board will vote to approve this plan. However, if the board cannot approve the assignment at this meeting, we strongly request that they not act to terminate the existing lease. If you're considering termination now because of the December 31st deadline, we're happy to extend that deadline so the board can make a reasoned, informed decision about the Feingolds and negotiate a new lease. Holly and I will work closely with the Feingolds to ensure a successful transition, and Holly and I are both available at any time to answer board or district questions. I sincerely thank you for your time.
Good evening, school board. My name is Michael Abrams. It is my family's 5th year at Carden Conejo School. My question is, and where I'm perplexed is, now that they're reaching the end of their professional career and ready to hand off the reins, why on earth would it be the case that a wonderful family couldn't take it over in their place? So my question is, why would the Conejo Valley Unified School District revoke Carden's lease in the first place when they certainly don't need the real estate? Thank you.
Hello, Board of Directors. My name is Rod Feingold, and I have lived and worked in the Conejo Valley for close to 25 years. I've been actively involved in the community, serving on the Board of Directors for the Conejo Chamber of Commerce, along with numerous other volunteer roles in the community, including coaching for youth sports, chaperoning homeless shelters, and leadership roles at the YMCA. I've worked in the entertainment industry most of my life, attaining senior level executive positions at Fox and Disney. Additionally, I've owned several small businesses in the Conejo Valley. My wife, Dina, and I have 3 children, with our youngest currently attending Carden Conejo. With respect to this action, the notice of termination of lease, I'd like to make a few comments. While this action item was generated due to the current owner's intention to retire soon, I believe it was put forth to the board without a full understanding of the plan for Carden to continue operations. I'm aware that after this action item was put on the agenda, you've received written communication outlining the continuation plan. That plan being proposed names me as an officer of the newly formed nonprofit corporation. As a former CEO and owner of numerous local businesses in the Conejo Valley, I'm uniquely qualified to manage the school's operations and make sure the magic the school has created in so many lives continues for years to come, and make sure the school fulfills its financial obligations. The notice to terminate the lease puts a cloud over our school community, creating an environment of uncertainty and an unnecessary anxiety amongst all of us. I'm respectfully requesting the CVUSD Board of Directors vote no on this notice of termination of lease with Carden. And thank you for your time, and hopefully we can continue a mutual, respectful relationship. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Posey. I'm a parent of 2 children at Carden Conejo School, and I'm requesting that you not terminate Carden's lease. I again respectfully request that you not terminate the lease. And as a side, I'd like to know if you guys, were to terminate, or if you were wanting to terminate, what you plan to do with the land. A lot of us at Carden are wondering where this is coming from, that it's just kind of mind-blowing to us that out of nowhere this would be happening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dina Feingold, and I am heavily invested in the Conejo Valley community, where I have spent half my adult life. I've been actively involved in the professional community, serving in local community engagement roles, healthcare advocacy, and educational outreach for nonprofit organizations. I pride myself on my numerous volunteer roles for the Las Virgenes Unified School District, serving both on the Parent Faculty Association Executive Board and as a site council representative for consecutive years, and in numerous leadership roles within the Carden Conejo Parents Association. To best preserve Carden, I would like to make a few comments about the action item on tonight's agenda to best describe our role, our continuing plans for Carden. Number 1, to continue to operate the Carden School, my husband and I have formed a nonprofit organization, Carden Conejo School, Inc., to best serve the Carden community. Our intention is to retain the student body and the Carden curriculum. Number 2, as an officer of the corporation, I'm qualified to step into a leadership role at Carden and work alongside the Flemings, as I have always been connected to a role in education. I recently worked for the National Society for Gifted and Talented and successfully implemented an academic summer program at Cal Lutheran for local CVUSD GATE students in kindergarten through 5th grade. Additionally, I work for a local faith-based nonprofit.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Feingold, that is the 2-minute mark. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. My name is Stella Rubin. Thank you for your time. I'm a proud parent at Carden Conejo School. I have 2 children there. Dina and Rod Feingold, as you have heard, are exceptionally qualified to assume every obligation of the lease and the school. And the Feingolds will continue to uphold the integrity of the school and serve our community.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, and thank you for taking the time. I wasn't expecting to speak. I also wasn't expecting that the lease wasn't possibly going to get renewed at Carden Conejo. Hundreds of kids, including our own, that have been disrupted in their lives over the pandemic, to have something like this taken away from them that's so important. For reasons of which I can't quite understand. I think maybe perhaps since there wasn't a transition plan, it sounds like, with the Feingolds, but it sounds like they're incredibly qualified. So I'm hoping that everyone's reconsidering this position, hearing from them and from all of us parents that love the school.
Hello, distinguished board members of the school district. My name is Judy Prickett, and I've been a Carden parent for 6 years. I have 3 kids in the school. I would like to respectfully ask the purpose of terminating the lease, given that historically the lease was transferred to families taking over.
Good evening. My name is Victoria Prickett. I am staying past my bedtime. I am in 4th grade in Carden. Please don't take away my school. Thank you.
Instead of terminating the lease, we kindly ask you to please preserve a piece of Conejo Valley history and approve an assignment of lease to the nonprofit public benefit corporation, Carden Conejo School, Inc.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Dennis Wang. I'm a parent and resident parent of a 6-year-old daughter who attends Carden. If that is not achievable, speaking personally, I'd like to have the board explain a written explanation of its motivation to terminate the lease, because I think there's some confusion around what that motivation is and the board's desired outcome for doing so.
I would like to thank all of the parents and the alumni who have spoken here on this item. I would like to see if Dr. Hayek has any comments on the issue. He is shaking his head no.
I will jump in just to clarify a couple of things.
Okay, Dr. McLaughlin.
From a school district's perspective, we didn't go looking at terminating, obviously, this lease. Obviously, it was brought to our attention on October 21st by Mr. Fleming to an email to Dr. Hayek that he requested a meeting on the 26th. That meeting took place with Dr. Hayek, Mr. Fleming, and Ms. Macias Flavin, the director of the school, from my understanding, to discuss, what direction they were going with the school. The Carden lease was then placed on our closed session agenda for discussion with our Board of Education on November 2nd, 2021, with public comments open to all community members. Mr. Fleming did speak at going into that closed session. On November 8th, 2021, an email from Mr. Fleming again noted that they were retiring and giving up ownership to a family who will continue to run Carden Conejo. That was noted to us, but no other details for the most part. Carden Conejo lease again was on closed session agenda on November 16th, 2021, with public comments open to anyone who would like to speak prior to that discussion taking place. And then an email again from Mr. Fleming on December 12th, Monday, noting that we're requesting the district assign Carden's lease to 2 individuals. In working with our attorneys, there's 2 pieces to the contract or the agreement language, and really part of, why this is up is the agreement language. I want to say it's in 7.1, but I don't have it in front of me. But the terms and conditions of this agreement were solely to the leaser. So at the time this was written, it was solely to the Flemings. And then there was also a line within that same section that says, in no event shall this agreement be assignable by operation of any law, and therefore by leaser, which means that reassignment was noted in there that it cannot just be a reassignment. Obviously, we run or have 2 other schools within district facilities that have contracts with the district to run charter schools. This contract is unique, to say the least, and much different than the other contracts. I think from that perspective, that's basically a recap how we got here, and why this discussion is taking place. As I said, and I want to note to the Carden Conejo community, we did not go looking to do anything with the facility until we were notified by Mr. Fleming that they were looking at retiring. So, Dr. Hayek, like I said, is there any major pieces of that summary that I'm missing? Because I think it's the board's due diligence to take a look at the contract if it says it cannot be reassigned, to have this conversation, and that's why we're here. So with that, I'll turn it over to the board, or please verify from Dr. Hayek that the summary of that is accurate.
That's accurate.
Trustee Sylvester.
Trustee Gorback.
I do want to express, echo what Dr. McLaughlin said, is that in effect right now, or under these circumstances, there is no contract, in that it's null and void because it's going to someone that is not a contractee. Is that my understanding? Is my understanding accurate?
Yes, that's Correct.
And there seems to be a misunderstanding with the callers, with the Carden community, that there's only two options: either keeping the contract as is, or closing down the school and locking the doors. I don't see it that way. I see that when the the longest of us who have been on the board took over an agreement that is a ongoing 3-year agreement, that we can modify that. We can modify that agreement so that the choices are not either pass on the exact agreement that we have or shut the doors. And that's what my recommendation would be, to look over the contract and see why we have to have a rotating or ongoing adding a year each year to a 3-year agreement.
I think the contract agreement does note that if there is any adjustments to it, it should be done before December 31st, noting that is 3.5 years out. Obviously, there's a lot of time to have conversations on next steps, but once again, like I said, there's some deadlines tied to this and some contract language that put us in this position to have in the conversation. And we've been in conversations now for almost 2 months with the Flemings. So while it may be a surprise to the Carden community per se, this is something that has been worked on and discussion with CVOSD and the Flemings themselves.
We certainly appreciate your admiration for your school. I also want to clarify what this business is before us, which is about termination of a lease agreement and reclaiming of property that belongs to the school district. We don't have a position on the continuation or how Carden Conejo is run or where it's located. We're public school trustees. This board sent a letter to our governing partners at the City Council explicitly asking for housing. We're now seeing responsive action, and I hope that we will see more, especially more affordable housing and more village centers to meet the needs of our community. We are also looking at changes coming down in the legislative pipeline that go beyond housing. We're looking at many more 4-year-olds joining our campuses district-wide as we expand TK. These positive changes in combination mean that the responsible thing for us is to proactively secure the school site capacity that we have. And the need for us is greatest on the side of town where Triunfo Elementary is located. I'll note that we have wait lists at some of our school sites.
I just want to have some clarity. The lease that's in place was approved several years ago by the then board trustees with specific language prohibiting an assignment. Is that correct?
Yes, it was agreed upon by the board and the Flemings at the time.
So we are not able to assign the existing lease, correct?
Not per the terms of the agreement.
So with the recent announcement of the Flemings' retirement, tonight's agenda item is a function of the existing contract, correct?
Right, given the December 31st deadline to make the notification.
And this does not prohibit negotiating a new lease contract, correct?
It does not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Capobianco. Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, then let us vote. Trustee Shu.
Yes.
Trustee Goldberg. Yes. Trustee Gill.
Yes.
Trustee Gorbach. Trustee Gorbach.
Yes.
Trustee Capobianco.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. The motion carries 5-0 with a preferential yes vote by Trustee Shu.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dennis Wang, local resident in the community, here on behalf of Carden Conejo School. So I'm a current parent of a first grader at Carden and would like to reiterate the school's desire to negotiate a replacement lease or lease extension with the district so that our small yet purposeful school can continue to operate at its current location beyond its lease termination date. We would greatly appreciate an open line of communication with the board to partner and discuss mutually acceptable terms and an amicable win-win resolution that will enable the school to continue its positive impact on students as well as the local community for which many students and parents volunteer through the school. As shared by numerous members of the public during your recent December board meeting, Carden is an integral part of the educational landscape here in the Conejo Valley. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. We'll put that aside. So now up we have Nazi Peretz. Welcome.
Thank you, trustees, and thank you, Dr. McLaughlin. So my name is Nasi Peretz. I'm accompanied here by my wife, Martha Peretz, along with 2 out of my 3 children. The third child is with grandma because he's still in terrible 3s. We wanted to spare you. We're here to reiterate the interest on behalf of hundreds of parents at the Carden Conejo School, which you'll see my son representing. There is, if you know, the Carden Conejo School is located at 975 Evanstar Avenue, and we're due to renew our lease, which is coming up in 3 years. This lease is set to expire, and we would like to secure the location for a long term. In order to bring peace of mind, not just to the staff, but to the kids and to the parents who are eagerly awaiting this renewal. So far, we have not been able to successfully renew our lease with the board, but I'm confident that by keeping open communication, we can reach a mutually beneficial agreement. This renewal is in the interest of the surrounding community, who has also expressed support, and thousands of alumni who have graduated from this school. I'll say that the 2 kids by my side are not just the results of the school, but they're the results directly of Mr. Fleming, who's sitting here, who has led the school incredibly well and offers them an incredible education led by top-notch teachers who truly care to make valuable members of society. If you're interested in touring the campus and meeting the teachers, we would like to extend an opening invitation to you at any time. A dialogue is all I'm here to ask for, so that we can succeed towards the goal of educating a few thousand more alumni at the Carden Conejo School. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to welcoming you on campus alongside Mr. Wang and Mr. Fleming, who are here with me as well.
Thank you, Mr. Peretz. Okay, the next 3 is... Okay, our final 2 public speakers is Dennis Wang, followed by Tim Toten.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for your time, and it's a commitment for you guys to be here every 2 weeks. I just want to acknowledge that because it's not easy being up here trying to balance all these challenges and issues of the community. So I just want to thank you, acknowledge that. I'm here on behalf of Carden Conejo. I'm back again after 2 weeks ago just to express my desire for some engagement on the school's behalf with you regarding our lease extension. And I'm just asking for some dialogue to do that. As you may know, Carden Conejo, we're a small school, but we've been around for a long time, about 50 years. And we're just looking for some certainty as far as our outlook for the future. And so I personally believe there are solutions that we can explore together that are win-win if we can better understand your motivations, desires, and what you're looking to achieve. And so if that's something that you can help us to understand, we'd love to have that dialogue and to work together. So all I ask today is for a response at some point to engage with us and have a dialogue and conversation. So with that said, thank you again, and I appreciate your time, and that's all.
Dr. Hayek, district executives, congratulations on successfully completing another school year. You must be very relieved. I know I am. My name is Bob Fleming. You might know my wife Holly and me as the proud owners of Carden Conejo School. We're grateful for the 17-year partnership we've had with the Conejo Unified School District. Being outstanding tenants has been a top priority for us. Carden Conejo looks forward to a continued partnership with the district. At the previous board meeting, we heard that the district was waiting on a response from us regarding our lease. I'd like you all to know that I did send a letter to Dr. Hayek on May 27th, and in that letter, we again stated our desire to retire at some point with a plan to keep Carden Conejo strong and thriving. We're seeking a collaborative process to assure a mutually beneficial transition to new ownership without disruption. We're hopeful to begin that process with the district soon. If you have concerns with the current lease, please let us know what you think we should change. We'd like to know that. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. All right, our next three speakers are Joelle Mancuso, Carrie, who's going to donate time to Dr. Sheena Anderson.
Then we're going to move on to 5G, Triunfo Site, 975 Even Star Avenue, Westlake Village, California, 91361, Carden Conejo School tenant. Mrs. Feldman, do we have comment cards? Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to call the first speaker, Bob Fleming.
That's awfully nice of you. I'm delighted to see some of our students here tonight. We have two fifth graders in Connor and Genevieve, and a fourth grader in Isabella, and third graders William, Cherise, and McKenna. So thank you for coming and sticking around all this time. Good evening, President Gill, Trustees Sylvester, Goldberg, Gorbach, Powell, Student Trustee Call, Superintendent Dr. McLaughlin, Deputy Superintendent Dr. Hayek. My name is Bob Fleming. My wife Holly and I have owned and operated Carden Conejo School for 18 years. I'm here again speaking to you as I have many times over the last 2 years. We appreciate the 3.5 decades that Carden has been your tenant at the Even Star location. We strive to be an excellent tenant, always current on our lease payments. We've taken excellent care of the property. We've been building a strong relationship with our neighborhood and the wider community. Holly and I love this school. Carden Conejo strives to provide a high-quality, whole-child education to children. It's a gem of a school. Holly and I have been blessed to have been involved in its legacy. The parents, teachers, administrators, and the community at large recognize Carden Conejo as a community asset that adds value to the Conejo Valley. The community and residents surrounding Carden have expressed strong support for keeping the school at its current location and continuing to operate as an independent secular elementary school. Holly and I have pleaded with you to let the school continue to lease this beautiful campus that we all love. We came to you with a plan to have a nonprofit corporation receive the school from us as a gift. It seemed as though the district and the nonprofit corporation were on track to finalize a new lease acceptable to both the district and the school, but somehow those negotiations broke down. We ask that you please come back to the negotiating table to help the district and Carden Conejo School find a workable solution. Please, please help us find the families, children, and teachers who love this little school find a way forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Lisa Macias-Fleven.
Hi, Hi there. Good evening, everybody. You had to put us on the agenda the morning after Halloween. That's a tough one. Good evening. My name is Lisa Macias-Flavin. I'm the head of school and a fourth grade science teacher at Carden Conejo. And I'm proud that I've been a career-long educator, despite the challenges that we educators face each day. Because what we do and what your staff does as well is we help children become confident and respectful and competent adults. I love stepping onto the Triunfo site every day that I have to work, and I appreciate that it has been my work home for the past 14 years. We educators, we're tough. We can juggle a million balls in the air, and we know someone's going to throw another one at us at any time. We know how to find solutions and move forward. But the termination of our lease has topped it all. Dealing with an uncertain school site, not once but twice, has resulted in substantial ramifications. But what I find most concerning is how our lease was terminated on December 14th. Respectfully, I don't know why, when one trustee who asked about the lease assignment was told by a district employee, take a look at the contract, it cannot be assigned. It's inaccurate because section 17.1 of the lease clearly states that the lease can be assigned with written consent from the district. It even states that who will end up being responsible for the costs if that lease is assigned. Respectfully, I don't know why when Trustee Gorbach on December 14th was told that there is no contract when he was trying to get his facts straight for the vote. There was a contract, indeed, in place. And I don't know why, before the board meeting on December 14th, before that meeting ever occurred, the district did not act in a reasonable manner when the Flemings asked that the lease be assigned to the new nonprofit so that they could take over ownership. It was a reasonable ask. I remain concerned that the board voted to terminate the lease with inaccurate information supplied by the district. And I respectfully ask that the lease negotiations resume. We've been stellar tenants for the past 35 years, so please allow us to continue to serve the Conejo Valley for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Bill Rinker. You're going to have to listen closely, and I would suggest that you keep the clapping to a minimum when I call the speaker. Bill Rinker, please.
Hey, bud. Thanks for joining me. Good evening, and thank you, board members, for listening. I hope you don't only listen, but you truly hear us. With an open heart and open mind to what your constituents are saying about Carden Conejo. So my question to each member of the board is, why would you not want Carden Conejo to continue at 971 Even Star? A campus we have been at for 35 years. There's lots of reasons that we're all speculating, but we'd like to hear it from you, and actually we'd just like to continue with our negotiations. So I ask you, will you act in good faith and renew the lease at 971 Even Star for Carden Conejo? I'm asking you as the board, do not take away our kids' opportunity and choice for an exceptional education at Carden Conejo. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Brian S.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. So frustrating. I assume you all have children, or most of you have children. I'm going to also assume the reason you're sitting in those chairs is because you care about children, their well-being, and most importantly, their education. My name is Brian. I'm a father of twins who started Carden Conejo this fall. I am not sure why your district will not renew Carden's lease. I am not sure why your district is trying, what your district is trying to do with this property Carden Conejo sits on, and I'm not sure why there are no clear answers, knowing that Carden lease is ending in the near future. What I do know is that my children are happier than ever. They love their school. They love learning. They're excited every day to tell me about what they did at their school. I do not have the exact figures, but public school enrollment is down and continues to fall, as you know. Why this lease cannot be renewed to a school that is thriving with students is beyond me. I'm asking you to please renew Carden's lease. Let this school keep thriving, teaching, and giving back to its community. There is nothing negative that comes from a new lease. It's a win-win. In closing, I'm going to assume the reason you're all sitting in those seats is because you care about children, their well-being, and most importantly, their education. And I'm sorry people were clapping. You all were clapping for the people who are up here giving presentations, every one of you. Good night.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Spondello. My family lives in Thousand Oaks, and our daughter Madeline is a second-generation student at Carden Conejo. I would like to urge the board to renew Carden's lease with terms that do not put Carden's operation in jeopardy. Carden has been an incredible experience for our daughter Madeline and an asset to local families.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Rex, and I'm a father of 3 at Carden Conejo. And I don't know all the details of the lease. I don't know the negotiations of the lease, but I do know that there would be children and families that would struggle and suffer if this place was no longer around because of how much it means to us. Thank you.
I made a lot of friends at Carden, and it's the best school I've ever been to. Please don't kill our school. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm Connor Mendez. Hello, I'm Connor Mendez. My mom is Colleen Mendez, president of the CCPA. I'm here to tell you about Carden Conejo and how kicking 160 kids out of a school that they love is not right. Tell me, how does it feel to kick 200 kids out of a school that they love and taking the jobs away from teachers that the kids love dearly, taking away the campus that the kids known for years? The kids come to school every day in the morning, and you're taking that campus away. The same campus that made Carden worked hard to build, the same campus that you're trying to take away. And if we can't convince you to give us a new lease, then we will keep fighting.
Hi, good evening. I'm just going to talk from my heart. And my daughter, Emma Blank, started Carden. This is our 2nd year. I literally am devastated, and I'm in a breakdown if they have to move or they don't exist in 2 years.
Hello, respected members of the board. My name is Megan, Cameron Crosby, my friends call me. And I just want to point out that I also live in Village Homes, which is where the school resides. And I'm emphatically asking all of you, there's a doctor earlier who talked about why, and why is such a great question, because I still don't understand why. This is a conversation that we're having. You see the value that this school brings to your community. And as someone who lives in the community, I ensure to you all right now that I will fight and lead a grassroots effort to ensure that nothing happens to that campus, because it was made a school. It should be a school. I do not know why this is happening, but I can certainly say that there's no good reason why it should be anything other than that, unless it's benefiting the people right here. So I will fight you if this ends up being a conversation, and I know that I am strong in my convictions, but I feel very passionate about this, and I will not be the only one. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Fleming, and it is my wish to donate my time to Mr. Josh Lynn.
Good evening, Board President Gill, board members, Dr. McLaughlin, Dr. Hayek. It's good to see you all. I wish I was here on something other than a Save Carden matter, but here I am again on a Save Carden matter. The termination of the Carden lease can only be viewed as the board's deliberate targeting of this beautiful school and the board's denying 170 or so students opportunities and choices you profess to believe in. Many Carden students wanted to speak tonight. 7 are here. God bless them. But the board scheduling Carden last on the agenda made it unreasonable for most Carden students to stay up this late. As such, you are silencing their voices and denying them an opportunity to speak on such an important topic. In closing, Carden teaches love and respect for all people. I wish the board had the same mentality. I've known several of you for 8 years now, going back to Save Carden 1.0, and I am disappointed in the deceitful negotiations and the insertion of last-minute lease terms that no reasonable tenant could ever agree to. I know you guys are better than this. You know you are better than this. Please do the right thing and give Carden families and the school its lease back. Follow through on what you believe in, choices and opportunities. These are your words, and it's time for you to lead by example. And you guys really need to step up to the plate and come back to the table and bring this lease back together for the Flemings. It is really, really sad what has happened to this district and what these kids are going through and what these parents are going through. There's no reason for this. When we went through Save Carden 1.0, enrollment was about 22,000. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's about 16,000 now. You guys don't need more schools. You're running out of students. Leave these families alone and just let them do what they do. And, okay, you guys need to step up and follow through on those core values. Thank you for your presentation earlier. I thank you guys for your time. I hope we can come to a resolution and we can move forward.
Thank you. Next speaker, Vic Dalvey.
Good evening, trustees and administrators. My name is Vic Dalvey. I'm here speaking to you as a parent. My wife's a member of the board of directors of Carden Conejo School. I am the parent of two, as I refer to, not so little boys, a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. Removing children from a place where they feel secure, hopeful, happy is not what the community deserves. Refusing to provide an opportunity for others like Siddharth to grow into good, kind, and civic-minded citizens is not what the community deserves. Refusing to come to the table for a fair and reasonable chance is not what the community deserves. Please allow us a fair and equitable opportunity to negotiate in good faith. Thank you very much.
Based on the negotiations from what I hear between CVUSD and Carden Conejo, it has been brought to light that those are mere words and not something that is actually being put into practice. Most of the teamwork and relationship building, including trust, took a deep dive when the important non-negotiable clause was put into agreement at the very last moment. The abrupt turn of events has led to much confusion and concern within many families, especially the students, who do depend on this school for the nurturing environment that it does give it to them. I cannot imagine how the board thought it should be an acceptable clause that a school year could be jeopardized for some unknown or murky reasons at best.
My name is Kevin Duhan. I'm the parent of a first grader at Carden Conejo and a director and secretary on Carden Conejo's board. I'm here to ask CVUSD to re-engage with Carden Conejo School and to ask, if you're not willing to re-engage in lease discussions with the nonprofit, what's the plan? Also, thank you to my fellow Carden Conejo supporters who stayed here for hours this evening to participate. While we're grateful for CVUSD adding us to the agenda, I must note that there would have been more student speakers if we weren't the last item on the agenda after 9 p.m. Carden Conejo is the best choice for my family, and I'm willing to go to any length to keep our school open and thriving. 975 Evenstar is the best place to make that happen. Please re-engage with Carden's nonprofit board.
Just a little bit of background. I appreciate the reporters here tonight and whoever reached out to them. So back in 2001, when Mr. Fleming advised the district of his intentions to retire, the timing was opportune for the district to consider options. Not that we were going to do any options, but it's in good, I think, business faith to look at what our options and opportunities are. With the recent revision of the City of Thousand Oaks General Plan, several approved and pending housing developments, along with the discussion of more housing options in the coming years, the district continued to recognize its duty and obligation to be poised and ready to adapt to these potential changes. In response, the district took action to end the lease agreement and notified Carden, giving them 3.5 years notice to decide on their next steps. Mr. Fleming had asked the district to assign the lease in its current state to the new entity. That was something that we took action on not to do. Given the timeline on the new and planned housing, uncertainty in the economy, and in the spirit of good faith, the district agreed to enter into negotiations for a new lease. Several months of negotiations and over $100,000 of public funds expended working on a lease proposal was offered to the new entity looking to take over Carden School. That was an opportunity for Carden School to remain at the district property as a tenant on a year-to-year basis, which is similar to our charter schools, but it was declined. And so I'm going to go into some of the negotiation language. Nazi Peretz started negotiating without an attorney. In the middle of the negotiations, he emailed our Board of Education several times, left off district attorney and Dr. Hayek, as anyone would do, was to advise our board not to respond back, as we do not want an individual from our board to be looked at as a negotiator away from any action at the board and making any agreements without the board given direction to do so. In April of 2023, notice from the the new entity eventually secured an attorney and then changed attorneys, each making substantial changes. In April 2023, notice from the attorney states, without any restrictions or limitations, we really do not see a path forward for getting this lease done. We plan to attend the public portion of the district meeting tomorrow night and letting them know just how despicable, market and unreasonable this provision is, and see if they really think that this is a fair, appropriate, and just result for the lease to terminate mid-year because the district sells the property or forces us to shut down in the middle of the school year. June 2nd, 2023, Mr. Peretz emailed, we are no longer represented by counsel, and that the deal fell through prior to the weekend, given that Oaks Christian School has secured another location, which we don't know what that means, but we thought it was appropriate to ask if your client, CVUSD District, is interested in coming back to the negotiating table with a longer-term lease and removal of the self clause. If those terms are appealing, then we are happy to re-engage. Once again, we stuck to the one-year lease. That was nothing that we were going to go beyond, and at that point, negotiations has ended. If at that point in time, this is language that comes from the attorney. Dr. Hayek and I are not sitting down with anyone writing this language. This is attorney language that our board would take direction from. If they would like that language to be adjusted or changed, we would take that language forward to our attorney to see how it fits in to the clause or the agreement and move forward. So at no time have we said that we wouldn't work out a deal. It's a matter of language. And we're not going to give longer than a year lease, what we've given to Mates and to Bridges. Similar in nature, a little bit different because of your entity, but that's our current stance. And the discussion that we've had, if the board would like to do something different, we would need to have this agendized differently and move forward. Dr. Hayek, is there anything that I missed in this recap that you think we need to let the community know about?
No, I think that was a good summary.
Okay, I'm going to express a concern. My time belongs to the students and families of Conejo Valley Unified. And it's my intent that we spend our time in these meetings focusing on the education of our kids. And that's why the agenda is structured the way it is. Part of the job of a trustee is also oversight. We have multiple tenants. And we oversee negotiation and renegotiation of lease agreements. It's my expectation that those will not take away time from the core business that we're involved in here. It's my expectation that those negotiations will not drag out for months on end, and that they will not cost tens and thousands of attorney fees, because those resources belong to the children of Conejo Valley Unified. So, you have taken a great deal of our time, and when you come to meetings and say inflammatory things, which you're entitled to do, you have First Amendment rights, but I will advise that the only currency that matters in this room is the truth. So when you tell us that you're going to make life difficult and a public spectacle, you're getting my attention, but possibly not for the reasons that you intended. Other questions or comments?
Just to go back to my comments, just to recap. So we have negotiated in good faith. I think $100,000 of public funds to negotiate and spending months going back and forth is a good effort. We can't say that it's not, and I don't think that you would say the same thing. As someone who well, from the board standpoint that owns the building or is the landlord, it's our right and our duty to do our due diligence and look what those options are. They may not work out. They may work out. Listen to possible plans from district staff, if there are any, and make some decisions if that is the case. Consult with the city on housing projects. And then again, if Carden wants to sign the negotiated agreement that's on the table, I'm sure Dr. Hayek would have further conversations. We would take direction from the board if there are any contract language that need to be adjusted. But right now there is a contract on the table that you can sign. You just don't like part of the verbiage, and it's going to be a back and forth. That's negotiations, but there is a contract on the table that is ready to be signed. Is that correct, Dr. Hayek? Yes. Has been for months and months and months. We're not negotiating here tonight. Sorry, sir. Yeah, that would be through Dr. Hayek and our attorney.
Anyone else? I'm sorry, we can't hold a discussion. We can't hold a discussion. If something comes to the board, we will give it our full attention. Okay, if there are no more comments or questions from the board, we're going to move on. We're now at next speaker, Kevin Doohan.
Good afternoon, trustees and administrators. I'm here again speaking to you as the director and board secretary at Carden Conejo School. On November 1st, Superintendent McLaughlin said in comments that he was glad someone invited the media to the meeting. We are too. We were relieved to read his comment in VC Star that the district has no intent to sell the property at 975 Even Star. During the 11-1 meeting, Superintendent Dr. McLaughlin also said, if Carden wants to sign the negotiated agreement on the table, I'm sure Dr. Hayek would have further conversations. We would take direction from the board if there are any contract language that need to be adjusted. We thought, okay, perhaps there's a glimmer of hope here. It's a possibility that contract language can be adjusted. Then we heard from Dr. Hayek. Shortly after the meeting, we were thrilled. We thought perhaps the district is willing to make the small edits we requested. Nope, we were wrong. Hours ago, earlier this afternoon, Superintendent McLaughlin informed us that the lease on the table is non-negotiable. The lease where we made concession after concession in an attempt to somehow please the district is non-negotiable. The lease that the district added a last-minute poison pill provision to is non-negotiable. The Carden board deliberated and voted last night to reduce our asks from over 10 to just 2. To delete or edit the successor and interest clause, otherwise known as terminate upon sale, and rely upon rights granted in Section 3 to terminate the lease in the event the district wants to sell the property, or if the district needs the property for its students, and update the commencement date and term to reflect the time passed since April 2023. Superintendent McLaughlin has informed us the district cannot accommodate the proposed changes as outlined in your email, and our attorney's language stands firm. So here we are, and here we will be through either July 2025 or whenever you come to your senses. Mr. Lynn was right 2 weeks ago. You're better than this. We have more in common than not. We all care deeply about early education. Please reconsider your position. Thank you.
Good evening, district leadership. My name is Dennis Wang. I'm a parent of a third grade daughter at Carden Conejo and have served as a volunteer director on the school's nonprofit board since its inception in August 2022. I followed the negotiations for the new Carden lease from the beginning, and for your awareness, would like to point out 5 key terms of our proposed new lease that are substantially more beneficial to the district than your existing leases with your 2 charter schools, which should motivate you to move forward with us. 1, rent payments for the Carden lease are double those paid by the charters. 2, the entire first year of the Carden lease is paid up front in one lump sum. 3, the Carden lease has an additional $50,000 security deposit paid up front. 4, starting with the second year of the Carden lease, maintenance costs are borne by Carden rather than the district, up to $55,000 per year. Lastly, 5, Carden is required to submit annual financial reports as well as monthly reports of board meeting agendas. I was encouraged by your words during the last district board meeting, indicating an appetite to continue dialogue with us to renew our lease at our current location. However, such hopes were misplaced after reading an email sent only a few hours ago by Superintendent McLaughlin, indicating no movement on a key lease term that has been the linchpin of all the current discord. So we have a simple key request: remove or modify the termination upon sale clause, which was introduced into the lease by you late into negotiations this past March, which requires that our school vacate immediately upon sale of the property by the district. This clause is unreasonable for any tenant, much less a school, especially potentially during the middle of a school year. We simply ask for protection of a reasonable window of time to allow students and parents to finish the remaining school year in such a scenario. However, from Superintendent McLaughlin's email today, the district continues to impose this unreasonable clause in a take it or leave it stance. It's hard for me to stomach this as an approach of cooperation and good faith. My simple question to you relates to why you insist on such a clause. What defensible rationale can you provide that requires such a draconian provision? I'd very much like to say that I'm encouraged to work together with district leadership to create a win-win solution and demonstrate that at the end of the day, we're all on the same team as neighbors as well as caretakers of our little ones. Sadly, the reality appears not to be so, as you've aptly demonstrated. Thank you.
Dr. McLaughlin.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Just to follow up on a little bit of the conversation in public comments today, there has been some correspondence with Carden Conejo, myself, and Dr. Hayek over the course of the last 2 weeks or since our last board meeting. One of the things that, as the superintendent, as someone who is also assistant superintendent in human resources that work on contracts and negotiations, is I pride myself on not fishing for attorney opinions. We go to an attorney who we feel comfortable in from the facility side. He provided language that needed, from his purview, to be put into the year-to-year lease with the Carden Conejo group. And we're not going to go fishing for another opinion somewhere else. We're steadfast in working with our attorney. We communicate when we get communication back from Carden with an update, and all through this point, feedback that we have received is to continue with the language as is in the language that's been provided in version 15 of the negotiation process. So every time you're frustrated with me, maybe Dr. Hike or even our board know that we're working with an attorney who is providing guidance, and we will always turn to that attorney for guidance. The other piece to this is our board is made aware of every step of the process on a daily basis or couple-day basis when communication is put across the aisle. I will upload our string of emails that we've had since the last board meeting, so our community is aware of where we sit as a district. I want to be very transparent in this process with Carden, obviously with our board who knows where we're at, and our community. And again, we are not going to go fishing for an opinion. We're going to stick with the attorney that we're working with, and that individual feels strongly that this language, whenever it came into the negotiations, I can't speak to that, needs to stay. And at this point, that is our stance. And so that will be the continued conversation, unless something comes up and our attorney moves us in a different direction. But as of right now, it's not myself, Dr. Hayek, our board president, nobody at the dais taking action. We are currently working with an attorney and has been with that same attorney throughout the negotiation process.